What is going on, crew? Welcome back to the Boardroom podcast, where we help you stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. At Charlie, it's been a roller coaster. Like, it's been busy. We're seeing momentum. We're seeing growth. Client results is an all-time high. Like, we've got one of our clients who's going to do 100K this week. And it's just been, it has been fun. It's been a stressful, but fun ride. So, what's on your mind, Tease? What do you want to dive into?
Yeah, I mean, a perfect segue of you saying enrollments at all-time high, and just a bunch of enrollments are coming in. The team is feeling it, right? And we're noticing some holes the way they were doing the work before compared now with the way they're doing the work, because enrollment's high, builds need to get done, adjustments need to get done, performance needs to be done, all that stuff, right? So they're like, oh, we need more help. And then we notice like, yeah, I mean, we can get some more help, definitely. But the way you're utilizing your time, your schedule, how you're doing all that, there is definitely some holes because you're being reactive more than anything instead of proactive on how you're managing your stuff. So I know you had to talk with the team as well. I think that's definitely something that we could potentially talk about, like at a high level, how to get more on your plate, but still be performing at a high level, even though you're pushing more on your plate, because me and you are not, we're not new to this, right? There's a lot of stuff that we do on our plate. Got family, got kids. We're still able to do all that and still get everything done. And people are like, oh, well, how do you guys do all that? It's just because you look at the schedule. It's to see how everything.
One core principle that I've been pushing the team on is like, you gotta get a bigger plate. Because you get to a point where you've got so much on your plate, right? And in this analogy of, you've got so much on your plate, the plate is analogous to your time in a day, right? How much you can do in a day. So when I say get a bigger plate, right, I'm not saying you got to get more time. Getting a bigger plate means you're utilizing the resource of your time way more effectively, right? Because when things aren't as busy, you can get away with kind of like shooting from the hip and being reactive and doing these things. But then when things start to get really, really busy, right, the holes start to get exposed, right? You don't know that there's a leak in a pipe. You don't know how severe the leak is until you pump it with a bunch of water, right? Then the leaks, like, you start to see water spraying everywhere, and then you start to see the cracks. Right. And first of all, like the team, like, whenever we're in that stage with the team, I'm like, guys, this is the best time to be alive. Right. Not many people get to a point where they're being pushed to a point where they have to level up. I love these moments in time. Right. Because you're going to become a more capable human being once you get through to the other side. All right. So getting a bigger plate means you got to be more disciplined with how you're utilizing the finite resource of your time, right? You have to be more proactive. You have to think through, how am I utilizing my time? How am I utilizing my calendar? Am I allocating time to get things done that needs to get done? Am I blocking time to drive projects forward to do the work that I need to do? All right. And so there's lots of different ways to this, but the part of the business that was getting stressed the most was like our CS team, right? And when I'm like, I could tell a couple of weeks ago, I asked the team, like, how are you guys feeling? And a lot of them were all overwhelmed. The only people that weren't feeling overwhelmed were like the dev team, because they've already gotten this training from me where I'm like, hey guys, like, you need to suck it up. You all need to get some bigger plates. And I'm not going to lower the bar so you can feel good about being mediocre. Like you got to level up, right? You got to get more discipline. So I've been pushing that team, like the product team, in that way. And now the CS team is starting to feel it and is like, all right, guys, we need to start rethinking how we're utilizing our time and our resources. Like there's a lot of mismanagement happening, not in intentional neglect, but simply because you clearly don't know better. Right. So it was a training opportunity for our CS leader and for everyone to be like, all right, I need to be more intentional with how I'm utilizing my time because we're not slowing down. Right. So you got to get a bigger plate, get more discipline with your time. And I'm already seeing, like, I mean, I think it was Wednesday was a talk. And then within 24 hours, I saw a bunch of accounts get moved to done. So it's just like, I think people management and leadership is just so underrated. Right? Most constraints in the business can come down to a mismanagement of resources and a mismanagement of bandwidth. All right. So that was happening with the team, but then we've got like clients, the same example of clients where clients are focusing on the wrong thing. Right. There's two examples that were pretty extreme. One of them, their sales team went it was some disgusting. It was like 2 for 98.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, right. Like 2 for 98 or something obscene like that. And then she was like, because this is a blue chip client, she was like, I think we need to make some adjustment with marketing and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like
pushing back. I'm like, nah.
Not a chance. Send me the sales calls that they're having. Like, who is reviewing these calls? Like, I want to hear some of these calls. She sent me a bunch of them. And within 30 seconds, I was like, your sales team sucks. So I listened to one call and I'm like, I already know this person isn't going to close. Don't even send me calls and don't tell me the outcome of the calls. Listen to the first 30 to 60 seconds. This one didn't close. 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 This one should have closed. They were a lay down, but after going through, I'm like, they definitely aren't going to close because your salespeople can't close an open door. Like they're just lacking sales skills. All right. But she was about to force all these changes on marketing when the actual constraint was sales conversion, because people like to solve things that they feel comfortable solving.
And what's funny is marketing is always the first thing that people go to. Oh, it's the marketing, it's the leads, it's the traffic.
It's the easiest to go in. It's the easiest to go in and push buttons and make tweaks, and you feel busy and you feel like you're getting things done. I just recorded a bunch of new videos. We're split testing all these different headlines. It's like, dude.
I'm like, all right, well, let me give her the benefit of the doubt. Because, I mean, that's really, really bad, right? So I'm like, I'll check everything, all the language, all the messaging. I'm like, dude, these leads have to be pretty high intent. They go through a pretty good filter process.
Yeah, they're going through there. I'm like, I don't even.
Whatever. These leads are purring. Yeah.
I rejected that notion. I'm like, I'm not even entertaining it. I know for a fact it's not the marketing. Get out of here.
Yeah. I was like,
setting up sales calls. And it became very clear sales was a constraint. You don't go 2 for 98 and say it's a marketing problem. Like, no, it's not. Your salespeople aren't good at closing, but they're good at persuading you that something else is the problem. That's the issue. They can't sell worth shit, but they can sell you on the fact that they're not the problem.
Right.
So,
and so we went 50 sheet. You know what I mean? You told her fire everybody. Get new.
Got to get rid of the Celsius. You got to clean house. Brought in new reps, 100K week.
Hey, is marketing still the problem?
Brought it like that is how fast that flipped. Got rid of the old reps. New reps started this week. 100K week.
Bro, oh my God, these girls are freaking rock stars. They're like, there you go. You ready to push sped up? Yeah, push sped up. Let's go. So, and that's a perfect segue to finding red flags in your team, right?
Yeah.
And because we had to make a drastic change on our side too. We were kind of like kicking the can along. You know, let's just be real. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah,
we realized
it's tough for me because I err
doubt.
I err on grace. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, but at some point you got to be able to draw the line and just be like, you know what? I'm doing this person a disservice keeping them on the team. Mm-hmm. Right? Because our team is like the overall quality of what we're trying to represent is going down as a result of this. So we got to make a radical change, right? And so we got to make changes. And in order for the 8 players on the team to feel good about being on the team, we cannot allow B players. We just can't. We can't allow B players. And then the A players get frustrated and they're like, dude, how much longer am I going to have to clean up after this person? You know? Mm-hmm. And so as an entrepreneur, I mean, especially for me, because I'm spirit led. I mean, I'm believing God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in grace, and God is doing a lot of working on like my own heart and things like that. So I want to be able to extend that benefit of the doubt. But at some point you got to be like, all right, dude, Jesus even says you got to stop throwing your pearls to pigs. It's not a license. Faith is not a license to be naive. All right.
Right.
So with the resources, you have to pay attention to the red flags, call them out a lot earlier, and then uphold the standard. Because if somebody's not performing within KPI, within like the first, I would say I had somebody who didn't perform within like the first 30 days of them being onboarded that worked out. Have we had somebody who within the first 30 days of them being onboarded onto the team, they didn't perform and then they somehow turned it around?
No. Especially rare that actually this role that we're talking specific.
Every role, like every player was like when they're in the right seat,
they perform. We like knew. Yeah, we moved somebody from the AM. We're like, man, this is not you, bro. Like, this is not you. I think you'd be good over here. We moved them. And then Johnny, which is our head of product management and everything, hey, this guy's good, dude. Like, he's humming. And like, shit, that was within a week. You know what I mean? And then I struggled for months with him. Like, fuck, I can't get this guy to do what I wanted to do, dude. I'm like, gotta move him. You know what I mean? So that is true. Maybe we look within a month, you know, on some of this stuff. You know what I mean? We could
30 days, because I mean, if they don't perform within 30 days, like, I've not seen somebody turn that around. Now, especially if they're a good cultural fit, right? But they're just in the wrong seat, then that's different. Or like when we have to let the other person go, I'm like, dude, like, you got a great personality. I like you as an individual, but you're just not a good fit. Like, you just clearly, as far as like actions backing up words, there's just a lot of lip service going on. And I just don't think tactically it's a good fit. Right.
Right. Because like you mentioned, it is a disservice. It's a disservice to multiple things. It's a disservice to them. Hey, I'm just moving you along, but you're not getting any better. Your skills
dragging you along. So
yeah. Second team, it's a disservice to the team because I don't know how many times we had to jump on calls and kind of save the stuff. You know what I mean? So that it's a disservice to whoever supports you, like the CS team, and because they have to like work extra hard to do everything, you know, to get that person at a, you know, up to a high level, whatever. I'm talking about the client. The third thing, you're doing a disservice to the business, money wise. And when you do a disservice to the business, you're doing a disservice to everybody because you are potentially losing money, which, you know, could be a bad thing. Like,
we lost money. We lost accounts as a result of the lack of performance. There's a lot of things that kind of went into it.
Still hurting us now. we're still kind of like,
Yeah, we're having to play cleanup
we're
and
playing superhero over here. Like, oh, dude, like, let me jump on with you. Like, we're trying to, we're trying to catch up on those, those stuff. Yeah, I think the main thing is just like catch the red flags early, and you probably just have to do something a lot quicker instead of, I just want to give you the benefit of the doubt, blah blah. But
benefit of the doubt is 30 days.
that's really how long that goes. Benefit of the doubt extends 30 days, and if we can't figure it out within that time frame, like show us like you got what it takes, then you got to be offboarded within that time frame.
I agree.
And then and that also ties into like when you're looking so that's on the team side, but when you're looking at your team or like your business, you have to ruthlessly focus on the constraints, right? Mm-hmm. If your team goes 2 for 98, what's going to give you the best lift? Trying to fix marketing or going from 2 of 98 to like 20 of 98? That's going to give you the best lift.
And then when your price point is what her price point is, dude, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Buddy. You know what I mean?
All right. So now like you fix that constraint and you go from 2 of 98 to all of a sudden, like literally the next week, 100K week. It's like,
hey, bro,
not solving the right problem in your business, like not solving the right problem in her business was costing her 100K a week for however long that problem persists. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if that problem had been solved sooner, those could have stacked up. Right? So that's where like it gets really expensive if you're mismanaging the resource of your bandwidth on the wrong things. That's why sequencing is so important. Looking at the constraints is really important. And even if the constraint is something that you don't know how to fix, right? Mm-hmm. You cannot afford to back down and try and solve something else because you feel more comfortable going in this department and shaking shit up.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta zoom out, right? Every stage of the business has its own kind of like bucket, right? You got ads as its bucket. You got your funnel as its bucket. You got your post booking stuff bucket. And you got your sales bucket, right? How is every bucket doing? Oh man. Like at that time I was giving her the best book call costs I ever got ever for. I'm like, fuck, you sure it's marketing? Cause man, I'm humming over here. You know what I mean? Look at it. And then I'm 2 for 98. Holy shit. Let me go to sales. Let me get feedback in the team. Let me look at sales calls, right? And this is why it's extremely important as well as having somebody in your corner, right? Where you take your blinders off and, hey, Iggy, can you go see what's up? Right? Because for some reason, I'm not seeing it. I just can't see it. I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
That's why it's very important to have somebody in your corner where they don't care what your team thinks. They don't care. You're just looking at what's the problem. I'm going to fix the problem.
Like they got to be able to, you got to be able to zoom out and be unattached to the outcome. Right? Like, for me, I refuse to be exposed to the emotional volatility of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I just refuse to let your emotional volatility affect me. Right? Like, and sometimes I can do this with my wife where she's like, where she comes on like she's hot and bothered about something, and then I'm like, I'm gonna need you to take a beat.
Let me put my cushion.
No, because for me, I'm just like, I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm gonna need you to go and work that out with God, and then come back when you came down a little bit.
The temperatures dropped a little bit.
I'm gonna need you to go and like figure that out because I can't do anything in that moment. Right? And even if I want to help, you're just not in the mental state to receive any kind of help. So that's really what happens within a business is you gotta get really good at being able to remove yourself from the emotional volatility of any situation that you're in so you can think clearly and objectively. And if that's not you, having somebody who can do that for you is just as good, right? Like somebody that you trust who can do that for you and be like, all right, well, I think I'm too close to this. I need a second look, right? I'm just too close to it. I cannot get myself away from, I'm too stuck in the weeds, right? And then having that second set of eyes did make a radical difference, because then there's like, all right, cool. Here's a constraint. Here's what needs to be done. Very radically, very quickly. It was like, all right, 100K a week. And I think that's going to continue. And that's why it's so important to be objective and be mindful and be a good steward of the resources that you have, which is your bandwidth, your time, money, team, and like what you're focusing, the problems that you're focusing your time and attention on solving. All right.
Yeah. And I'll double down again. I think it's extremely important you have somebody in your corner, right? When we were running our own thing, I used to come to you a lot. Even though I'm managing all these big players, right? I just can't seem to get out of my own way when I'm doing my own thing, right? I was like, fuck, Iggy. Hey, dude, I need eyes over here. Like, I can't. It's just weird, right? Obviously, you have somebody that helps us with Charlie and do all this external sources that talks and gives us feedback, right? I mean, one of our blue chip clients, dude, he's been managing accounts at an extremely higher level, doing millions of dollars. Comes to us, hey man, we meet with them every 2 weeks. Hey, I need some eyes.
Yeah, the voice. I mean, I've not met somebody who's like crushing it that doesn't have somebody in their corner.
Oh, everybody does.
All right, like everyone, like you gotta have people in their corner that can help you. And that's where like relationships and networking, and that's where like proximity and knowledge comes from. Is like those who are winning big, every single one have people in their corner that can go to for different things that they don't specialize in, you know? But it's cool to kind of see that, on the client side. We see it inside of our own business. We've had to make some pivots on our side. We're like, well, enrollment, even for us, like our issue is not closing deals.
It's not.
Never has been. It has been. It was like 2023.
Like this was pre Julio.
Yes. Yeah. It was challenged because I could close a deal, but like it was hard getting the right people who can actually do it. But then we were also like, we have to fix our sales process. We have to fix like how are we actually position the product? What are the things that we need to pull that gets people to buy, all that good stuff. But since doing that, enrollment has not been the constraint, right? Yeah. When we got marketing going, we got enrollment going, and we got the team implementing, then it became clear team and implementation and product were the issue, right? We start fixing product. Actually, first we started fixing the implementation, how it was being implemented, because we're like, when we went in and audited, it became very clear, well, we can't even say it's product because the way that it was implemented was like these bills are just terrible, you know, like we can't confidently say it's product because the bills are so bad, you know? Yeah. So we had to get.
This was a few years ago, guys. So everyone's listening. This wasn't like a month ago or anything like that, right? Yeah.
So this is just kind of like the hierarchy of issues that we've solved, like major constraints that we've solved throughout the business, and how important it is to solve things in the right sequence, right? Enrollment was a constraint. We get that fixed, but we've had a bunch of churn, right? Mm-hmm. There's two issues that could lead to it, is a product or implementation. And we start digging into the implementation. We can't even say it was a product because the product never had a chance. It didn't even have a chance to show what it was capable of doing because of how bad it was built, right? So the implementation was the issue. You get that fixed, right? Then it's like, okay, we have some legitimate product issues that needs to be solved now that we've eliminated the variable of how it's being implemented and being deployed, right? Now that gets fixed, and now the product starts to get fixed. Quality of results starts to go up because implementation is at a high quality. Product is getting at a high quality. Clients are starting to get same results. enrollment continues to flow. And now as we have ads going, now it's like starting to take off, right? But the process of building business is just right problems in the right order.
Right. Now the restraint is going back to CS team, but it's not because they're building nothing wrong or anything like that. It's the speed to implementation and getting stuff done now is an issue.
There's more supply, there's more demand than we have supply, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like being able to, and that's really what most of my day is spent doing, is really thinking, are we working on the right problem, right? What is the actual problem? What is the actual constraint? All right. And then thinking through, are we solving the right problem the wrong way? Right.
Right. And I would say this
have a demand constraint. Like we have more demand than we have supply, but why do we have supply constraints? Like, oh, well, if we throw more bodies at it, we're just going to have more of what we have now. Like the issue is actually how the team's going about managing the projects, managing their day, manage the resources of their bandwidth and time. We get that fixed. All of a sudden, we have more capacity without having to necessarily bring on more people. You know?
Right. But then now the restraint goes, all right, well, now you're getting your resources, your calendar, your structure, your time. You're getting all that dialed in now, right? Even our head of CX, she's managing all the calendars. Like, hey, this bill goes to you. You block out here, and then okay, you can't get nothing now. This person needs to go here instead of just going, you're next, you're next, you're next, you're next. Right. So everything
strategy and how, and strategy is just how resources are being allocated, right? It's how are you allocating resources? How are you prioritizing the resources that are being allocated? So now there's actual strategy being utilized with how those things, the resources of the team and the builds that are being done, how those are being allocated, which has artificially increased the capacity of the team because now we're doing things in the right sequence, and there's strategy with how that's being done. Right. There's that many levers to pull within.
Yeah. And so that's getting dialed in. Right. So we're like, hey, like enrollment's not stopping. This shit's going. Like it's pumping. Right. So yes.
Bigger plate.
Yeah. They got to get a bigger plate. They got to manage what they need to be managed. Yes. Do they need maybe one, maybe two because of all the influx is still coming? Yes. That's why we're working on that. But now the restraint is low restraint, and they just moved over to the account management restraint. Well, there's two. There's me and somebody else, but it's just I'm in meetings all day. I'm not a true account manager at a like that's my job. It's not my only job. I'm in totally all these different departments. So our guy is like, F me, dude. Like he's about
He coming out of the ears. We're getting some help for them. And then there's the other lever where we need to get our documentation up to stuff, and like we're now Steve that the product can do that we don't have documented properly that needs to get fixed, which we're starting to fix now because now as a user start to understand how to use it, to start to see like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you could do all of this. Right. We get those things documented, and now they can start actually deploying and utilizing the product to its fullest capability, which reduces burden from the team, which increases capacity. So there's like all these different levers that we're pulling, right? Imparting strategy on how things are getting done. Then you've got new people that are going to be onboarded, right? But then you also have, we could throw more bodies at this, but the actual constraint is the fact that documentations of like how to utilize the best practices of the product isn't where it needs to be. So there's all this demand on team to fill in the gap. Whereas we fix this, we eliminate the amount of demand that's there, increases team's bandwidth and capacity, and we're able to continue to keep that cycle going. All right.
Right.
That's a game of business.
Yeah. Zoom out, listen to your team, right? Get feedback. That's definitely core. You being an owner, you being the leader, right? Management, whatever. Listen to your team. understand what's happening with them, and then trying to figure out how can I help them, right?
Yeah.
If that's really more bodies, then you put more bodies. If that's really like us, it's like three. There's many things. It's documentation, the product like management of that type of stuff, is how the team is managing their own things. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff that we can pull, and then eventually it's just going to go. The demand of human power is just going to go down because the client can help out because a lot of clients like, hey, I want to do this. So how do I do it? What do you want?
That's where like we want you to be able to do it too, and so we're just to really empower you to be able to do that at a high level. So those are kind of like where those things are coming. But hopefully, I mean, for main takeaways for those of you guys who are listening, because we're coming up on time, is if I'm going to kind of like recap it up and summarize it, put a bow on it for you to actually tactfully take and implement, all right, within your business, things that you need to consider. All right. Source allocation. Is there strategy with how you approach solving problems within your business and what you're focusing on, right? So you got to ask yourself, what is the actual constraint right now? Right? Where are we losing? Where do we have the most to gain if we fix this? Right? If you're getting leads and you're getting qualified leads and you're not closing them, right? Or if you're getting a bunch of qualified leads and they're not showing up, your constraint is going to be like improving your show rate. If you're getting a bunch of qualified leads and you're getting a bunch of calls and you're not closing enough, your constraint is you got to improve your sales conversion, right? And you got to look at your sales process. Why aren't people buying? Is it a lack of skill? Do you need it? Or is it the pitch is bad, the offer bad? Like what is the constraint is there, right? And then you have your demand constraints where it's like, if you're onboarding a bunch of people, you're selling a bunch of people, but then you have a revolving door, people are falling off, then it's like you have a supply constraint. Like you have a demand constraint on how you are servicing the accounts. Is it because you don't have enough people? Are people utilizing their time effectively? Do you not have a system with how things are being done? Like there's a lot of things that you got to be able to look at. Your job as the business owner and as the leader of your team is to be able to zoom out and think through all those different things and be like, okay, what is the actual problem? And if you're too close to the problem, have somebody that you trust, look at it with you and give you a second opinion or a different perspective, which is often a lot of times what the person that you trust, like your mentor and things like that, they just give you the ability to see it from a different angle. And oftentimes that perspective shift unlocks your ability to connect the dots and see exactly what needs to be solved. All right. So those would be kind of like my takeaway if we're going to put in a bow. And then when it comes to team, you have to just give people the benefit of the doubt, but don't throw your pearls to pigs and have a cutoff. Right. For us, it's going to be 30 days. Right. A real player who comes in, like every single person who's been on the team and who's been with us for the last couple of years, like they hit the ground running. Yeah. Right. Like they didn't need more than 30 days to figure it out. All right. And even the ones that weren't performing at a high level within that 30 days, they were proactive. They were very, very proactive about asking questions, getting access, thinking through, like learning. And then like once it clicked, it's clicked, you know? So that's it. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. I'd love to kind of hear your takeaways. If you're watching, comment your takeaways. Like what are your biggest takeaways as a result of this episode? And if there's anybody that you think will find this helpful, send it over to them. All right. Till next time, stay calm, change lives, and have business on your terms. Peace.